Now recording.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody. This is the fourth episode of the litmus test. I
Welcome
am
back. Welcome
Sunith,
back.
and I have my partner.
My name is Zain.
What are we talking about today? We actually didn't plan anything, did we?
Not really. I had a few things that I wanted to talk about. A lot of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, I thought about yesterday actually
Mhm.
while I was shopping during Black
Yeah,
Friday.
I also thought Black Friday was gonna come up in our conversation.
Yeah, man, I have quite a few thoughts on Black Friday. It's it's an interesting day in the year.
Yeah. Why is it? What are your observations? I didn't actually go. Like, I went to the mall for like half an hour and then I just left.
Well, the one thing I noticed was how little people were in the malls. Like I went to Weststead, right, which is like
Mm-hmm.
one of the most popular malls in all of Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So I was assuming a lot of people would be there, but like I swear it's like half the people that I expected would be there. Like
Really?
found parking. I found parking so fast. I thought it would take me like half an hour. But another thing that like I found really interesting, apart from actually like physically going to the stores, is I share an account, like an Amazon account with my parents,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I can see everything that they're putting onto like their cart, like their their wish list and everything. And it's just so interesting seeing like what they want to buy.
Why? What are some stuff that come up?
So like I'm on the cart right now, and my mom wants to buy those really weird like toe shoes that you use for walking and running. Do you know what I'm
Oh
talking about?
yeah, like the one Avi had, like all
Yeah,
flipped up.
yeah. They're called toe hiking bare feet aqua shoes. They look so disgusting, and if my mom wears those, I'm I don't know. I'm gonna tell her not to wear them.
If my mom wears them, I'm disowning myself.
Yeah, that's not my mom. That's not my mother.
But what's the point of those shoes? Are they actually
So,
nice?
so they're for hiking. They have like a ton of grip underneath them, and you can also use them to swim because they don't have any. They have like those toe holes, so it's more like aerodynamic or aquadynamic, I guess.
Whoa,
But they look disgusting. Like they're like a disgrace to fashion as we know it.
they're kind of cool. I see some like Chelsea boots, but they're toes.
Really? No way.
Yeah, it has like the zip and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all right. But I'm just thinking like whenever I think of those types of shoes, I think of like highlighter yellow coloring, which just completely turns it off for me.
Mm.
Like if it was the proper color, like let's say if it was like olive green and black, or like maybe red and black,
Mm-hmm.
it would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least it looks good. Ew, these look disgusting.
You
You,
see a zipper?
you just sent me the picture of the Chelsea boots with the toes in them. That actually looks like Neanderthal type shit.
But isn't it weird that we as humans didn't go in this direction? Like, why haven't we been making this type of shoes forever?
I I mean, we're heading there now. So another thing that's in my watch list is a Fire 10 tablet from Amazon. It's like the new tablet
Oh,
that they came out with.
yeah, I was looking at that too.
Bro, it looks terrible. Like, I guess they're competing with iPads and Galaxy tablets,
I think
but
it's more of like an e-reader, but it's a tablet, but it's meant for reading, I think. I'm not sure.
it's like one of their highlight features is 1080p full HD. It's like, yeah, I hope so.
How much does it cost? Amazon Fire.
It cost almost $300,
Okay. That's not
which
bad
is
actually.
decent, but I suspect that they're gonna stop working in like less than a year, like most of them do.
Yeah.
Like,
I
have
think
you
this
ever
is
used one
like
of those tablets that are from Android? Like, what the
yeah,
fuck?
yeah.
Who
It's really
uses that?
shit. It's really, really bad.
Like, it's always so slow.
Yeah. I feel
There's
like
like
this is something
one,
you get like for your grandmother or like for your like 4-year-old.
yeah, bro. My grandfather uses this type of shit. Like, he uses WhatsApp on it and stuff, and I'm like, this makes sense because like he doesn't have any standard for like how fast it would be, right? Like he
Hmm.
would just deal with it. I don't think my dad can deal with this though. He'd want to like smash it on the ground.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the user experience is really, really bad.
Yeah. Sorry about that siren in the background. I don't know if you can hear it.
Oh, yeah, I can slightly hear it.
Yeah, I live beside a hospital, so I hear them like all the time. Anyways, the next thing is like the only normal thing on the watch list, which is one of those electric shavers from Braun.
Mm-hmm.
And like that makes sense. Like I'm okay with that being on there. Everything else though, it's like I'm judging my parents for it. But anyways, something I noticed yesterday while walking around is maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but I don't find joy in window shopping anymore. I feel like I've been doing it for so long that it's just like another thing that like it doesn't like fill me with any type of emotion anymore. I just like walk around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like
Especially when there's like
you don't
so
go
many
inside
deals going
anymore?
on. I do go inside, but like okay, so I walked into Zara yesterday
Mm-hmm.
and they had this whole rack that was like $10 pants. And that's
Okay.
pretty good for Zara. Like usually they're like 50 or like $40.
That is really good for Zara.
But like they were like clearance pants, so like the sizes were all off and shit. But I don't know, like before when I used to walk into these types of stores and see these deals, I would actually get excited and like I'm like, yo, I can buy something here. Like this is gonna be nice. But now I walk in there and I almost have the idea that I'm not gonna buy anything. So like what's the point of even walking in here?
Mm. Like I feel like the last few times I've been to a store, I pick something up and then I hold on to it for like 10 minutes, like walking around and looking at other stuff, and I end up just dropping everything and not buying anything. This
Bro,
happened three, four
that's
times.
exactly what I did. I did that yesterday. I walked into like what's the name of that store? Sunrise Records. I don't know if they have that in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's
pretty
just
much
like
like
a
HMV.
store. Yeah, HMV.
So I walked around and I saw these Blu-rays for $10 each. So I got American Psycho. I got yesterday because I actually wanted to watch that film. And what's the last one I got? I got Gone Girl. So there's like the
Mm.
three films I got, and I was like, yo, this is pretty good for $30. And I walked around for like another like few minutes, and I just like kept them near like the vinyl records because I was like, I'm not gonna buy these. And then I just
Yeah,
walked away.
I don't know why. Like I hold on to them and I realize, or like what I hold on to it and I realize like this isn't gonna bring me anything, like any
Yeah,
increased happiness. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's probably a good thing, right? Or maybe I just need
it is a
a.
good thing.
Yeah, I guess it's a good thing.
Because like also you know that it's just gonna take up space that you don't
Yeah,
have.
yeah. Like I have bought so much useless shit in my life. Now maybe my brain's like, yo, chill the fuck out.
You want to know one of the most useless things I've ever bought in my life and the most
What?
expensive?
What?
I bought a recording device for my PC and it was $300. And
Like to
I
record games and shit.
anything like you can record anything including games. That's what I bought it for.
Mm.
And I didn't use it. I used it like once maybe just to test it out and it didn't even work properly. And like I think about it now and I'm like, wow, I'm so stupid. Like I didn't know how that shit worked, so I just bought it. And I was like,
Mm.
maybe I'll figure it out when I get the instruction manual, but it was even more confusing than when I started.
Mm. Was it an Elgato?
No, it was Magic Black something.
Oh, I remember always wanting to buy like a game capture card or whatever because I
Hmm.
wanted to post my games, but I never did. Yeah,
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
thing that you
It's
didn't.
yeah. When I went to the mall, I saw a lot of people, more than usual, and I'm like, okay, people are just buying stuff. But I find it interesting how literally every single. First of all, it's interesting that we have a It's almost a holiday
Yeah,
in uh, in America. It's more of a holiday, but it's interesting how we have like an event just dedicated to shopping. That's kind of crazy. And then when you
it's kind of nice because like we don't have to deal with the baggage of Thanksgiving. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Like we're already done with that, so we just have to focus on the deals and like what we want to get our children or our parents for Christmas. Like that's what Black Friday's
so
for, right?
so is Black Friday okay? So Black Friday is connected to Thanksgiving. That's why it's here.
That's why it's in America and by extension it's here.
Okay, I see. I see. See, that's what's like interesting to me and pretty annoying is that every single holiday is like so consumerist.
I know, yeah.
In a month, we're about to get Christmas, which is like the
It's like the
greatest
biggest.
That's the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
And at least Christmas kind of makes sense because in a story of Christmas, these three guys bring gifts to Jesus when he's born. So no, it kind of makes sense that you buy gifts for people, but it doesn't really make sense to buy stuff for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's just weird how every single and then right after Christmas you have Boxing Day, and then you have New Year's. Like this is all like when sales and consumer shit's happening. I'm like, it's so weird how everything
even
falls
even
into this.
off color non-Christianity based uh like days holidays are so consumerist, like Valentine's Day, like you have to buy your significant other a present and like a bunch of like flowers,
Yep.
like that's what you have to do. And
Yep.
even Thanksgiving, like you have to make a big ass feast and buy all this food.
Yep.
It's all like, I guess it's smart for capitalists to like work that in. What's a holiday that you don't have to buy things for that people still
Nothing.
celebrate?
Nothing.
Like even Easter, you have to buy like
Easter you
eggs and
buy
shit.
stuff. Halloween you buy stuff. Um, yeah, like you
E-
always buy stuff.
Even like Fourth of July in America, you have to buy fireworks.
Yeah.
Damn,
Um,
that's
yeah. And then there's stuff like Eid, where you just give money to people.
Eid money. Yep. There, you don't even have to buy shit. You just give it away.
Yo, I've never got Eid money. I want Eid money.
You've never got. Well, you're not Muslim,
I'm not Muslim, yeah.
bro. I love Eid money. Even though like it's funny, like growing up and getting Eid money progressively by the year, you got more and more money, and then it kind of plateaued when you're like 14. Like I used to
Okay.
get like $10, like with everyone, like I don't know, when I was 8, I used to get like $10, and like a bunch of
Okay.
people gave me $10, so collectively it was like 100. And then the older I got, the more people started giving me more money, and by the time I was 14, I used to get like I don't know, $300 in total.
Mm.
So I could literally buy like whatever I wanted with that money, either save it up or buy a new game or something. Honestly, now that I'm looking back on it, a large majority of my allowance throughout the year, like if you put it on a graph, Eid was like a big ass jump, like completely.
Mm.
That's like the only big hurdle that there is. Anyways,
But by the way, you're like cutting out a bit.
oh man, I don't know why it does that. Do you
Hmm?
think it's because of the internet? Hello?
You're like cutting out a lot now. Hmm.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of the internet?
No.
You think it's because of the mic?
Maybe. I think it depends like on your speaking.
Oh,
I
like if
I
I'm
I think I think
peaking?
I think I think the way you're speaking right now is really is proper.
Okay, I'll just hold the mic like this then.
Yeah, like right now that sounds pretty good.
All right. So, what was I saying? Um, Eid money, yes.
Is it
So,
true that they give you like fresh bills,
fresh bills?
like the cash? It's fresh from the bank. It's not like crumpled. It's new.
I never thought about that, but now that I'm thinking back, yeah, none of them were crumpled or anything. They were like relatively crisp, I guess.
Yeah, I just saw it on Twitter like yesterday. I think that you have to specifically get crisp bills.
I can see some truth to that, yes. Because if it's not crisp, then it's like a sign of disrespect. Not only to the person you're giving the money to, but to Eid itself. Oh yeah, so uh, while I was walking around yesterday, like
Hmm.
looking at these different stores, first off, the only thing that I bought yesterday was a mighty kale smoothie, which I didn't expect to taste as good. It didn't taste as good as I thought it would be. It tasted phenomenal.
Okay.
Anyways, I got that for $5, and I was walking around and I saw an EB Games at the end of the mall. So I was like, okay, I might as well walk in there. Like I haven't been there in a while. I used to go to this place all the time when I was a
Hmm.
kid, like
Yup. Same.
almost every single like 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And I was just so surprised by how different it is now. Like I knew it was different, but like I actually thought about it while I walked in now. And like the whole layout just completely like baffles me from like a business perspective.
Yeah.
Because when you walk in, first you have like all these different cashiers and like employers in the middle of the store where you have to buy the game. And then around, you don't even know where the collectibles start and where the games start. Like it's so confusing. And when you have
Go
and
ahead.
like I just thought about it, like when you have a game that's coming out and you have to like line up for it, right? Like so imagine it's like a midnight release. And like so what happens is like you're in the middle of the store while you're buying it and the people behind you are kind of like going in a circle around the store. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? That's how
Because
the
like
lines work?
because how else can you line up in that store if there's a
Mm.
bunch of people? Like, isn't that fucking weird?
Yeah, it is weird. I wonder why they do it like that.
I honestly think it's really bad like business strategy, and it's part of the reason why they're going bankrupt because they are going bankrupt.
Yeah. Well, I think they're maybe physical games just aren't like as like important anymore.
Well, that's for sure.
And now when I go into EV games, it's so weird seeing those collectibles and shit.
Yeah, man.
It was definitely there when we were younger, but now it's like half the store.
Yeah, it's weird. Like when we were younger, it was like a small seed being planted in like the corner of the store. Like you walked in and you saw like a little bit of like collectibles on the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah,
And then like the older you got, the more like just took over the entire store, and
yeah,
now it's like half of the entire thing.
yeah. It's like nerd culture or something. Like they're running on nerd culture, not even gaming at this point.
Mm. That's a good way of thinking about it. But like you're right though, the physical games, like I don't think that many people buy it anymore.
Which is
Like
crazy because I always liked physical games over like digital ones.
same.
But I don't know.
I think the reason why I kind of put less emphasis on bot games now, like physical, is because ever since the introduction of the PS4, when you buy a game like a disc, you have to put it in and it has to install. Like you have to install like 80 gigabytes worth of game when you
Yeah,
have the
you
disc.
still have to like install a lot.
So like what's the point of getting the disc itself if you can just buy the game online and download the same amount? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like it's kind of counterintuitive. So that's part of the reason why I bought like Battlefield 1 online because I'm like I don't want to just go to the store and buy it. Like I'll just download it online. And along with that, like combined with that, there's way more deals and stuff going on in the PlayStation Store than there are like in physical copies.
That's true. Also, it's just a
That's
hassle to get physical.
that is true.
We like everything at our fingertips.
Yeah, it's like a video on demand type shit.
Mm-hmm. What else
Yeah,
has been up?
did you want to talk about anything in specific?
Um, I'm not sure. You know what I wanted? I wanted to
Mm.
buy an e-reader.
Yeah, like a Kindle?
Yeah, like a Kindle.
Are you gonna do it?
I don't know. I realized I can just use my Mac for the same purpose.
You could, yeah. But you can't take out your Mac on a bus or on a train.
Yo, I love flexing. I'm gonna do that for sure.
Bro, can you imagine if someone takes out their laptop, especially their Mac, like their brand new Mac, and just starts reading a book on it?
No, people do that. You don't think people do that?
I don't know. I don't see Macs. Maybe iPads.
I don't see many iPads. I want an iPad, but that's
Yo, honestly,
Mm.
iPads have changed the way I study and do school in general.
Mhm.
But my mom was asking me if we should get an iPad for my sister or a laptop because she's in
Yeah.
grade 7 now.
Yeah.
So she's like starting to like use Microsoft Word and PowerPoint and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her to get her a laptop because think about it, like when you're growing up, you're using the keyboard so much and you're getting so accustomed to the way the Windows like system works
Mhm.
And that's actually very valuable for when you grow up, especially in university. So
That's
I
true.
told her to get the laptop and not to get the iPad. Then my
Yeah,
mom was like,
I mean, the laptop's just more useful to her.
"Yeah, I mean, it's just like more convenient and like it
Yeah.
just makes sense, you know."
Yep.
So my mom was like, "No, Anaya will want the iPad. Like I'll get her the iPad." So I was like, just ask her what she wants. And like I honestly thought she would say the iPad, but she said she wanted the laptop. She said it herself.
That's good.
Yeah, I was just surprised because I thought like most younger people wanted iPads.
But like iPads, they can't do it. Like a tablet can't do everything a computer can. Not yet, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Like you can do some things. Like I can connect a keyboard or a mouse to my iPad, and I have Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint on it.
Mm-hmm.
But like sometimes you just want to do it on your laptop because it's just like that's what you're used to, you know?
Yep. Damn. So do you actually write notes on your iPad?
Yeah, I do. I have this app called Notability.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is it was kind of a learning process because when I first got the iPad, I wasn't sure exactly how to integrate my note-taking skills with like the pencil and the PowerPoints. So what I did
Yeah.
in the beginning was I downloaded the PowerPoints on one file, and then on a separate file, I used to follow the notes with the teacher and write everything down. It's pretty much like a loose leaf paper on the iPad, and I used to follow the notes with that.
Uh-huh.
But I realized that was kind of inefficient because I can't write everything down. So what I
Okay.
started doing was I downloaded the PowerPoint on the app, and then I used to write on the iPad or on the PowerPoint rather than a
Mhm.
separate loose leaf.
Okay.
So now it's like I can like make like asides to certain points, and I can add on to it, and like can do it much faster than like having a giant piece of loose leaf and having no like I guess like what's the word? Like direction to which point I'm pointing at.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten like really convenient and like really good at taking notes with the iPad now. And yeah, I highly recommend it.
That's beast. Maybe one day I'll get one. Which one do you have? 12.9?
No, I have the 11.
Okay. Is a 12.9 too big?
Yeah, like if you have the 11 inch, it feels really good in your hand,
Mm-hmm.
and you can almost like carry it around with one hand, and it won't feel too big.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take it out on trains or whatever, and like it doesn't seem like you're just flexing for the sake of it. Like you're actually doing work on it, which is nice.
Okay.
And yeah, it's more portable and all that other stuff.
And you like drawing stuff on it too.
Yeah, I have this app called Procreate, and it's like it's phenomenal for doing any type of art,
Mm.
any type of art.
That's what I love, bro. I wanna like actually it's like I don't need obviously I don't need a freaking Mac, a Pro. I'm sorry, an iPad to make art. But like
Yeah,
I just feel like the experience would be so nice.
it is, man. The experience, it feels like I'm cheating to a degree
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it's like this
I
is
feel
not
that
how
way
art
too.
should be done.
Mm. I feel that way about my Mac too.
Yeah,
Like
in what sense?
I just feel like somehow it just makes me more productive in creative types of things. And maybe this is some kind of weird placebo that I'm like putting on it, but it works for me, right?
Do you think it's because the UI is so like well integrated into everything and how good everything
I
looks?
think
It just gets you want to do that.
yeah, like just 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 getting on the Mac and just feeling it and playing around with it, like it's just a bit inspirational, I guess. It just feels really
Mm,
good. Um,
yeah,
and I've never had such an experience before with like another laptop.
yeah. I guess when you compare it to like all the different Windows laptops, like I kind of told you about this
Mm.
earlier. When you're using a Windows PC and you download an app, it
Hmm.
really feels like a third-party app. Like that's what it feels like
Yeah,
when you're using it. Let's
yeah.
say you're using like Spotify on it, right? It doesn't feel like Windows actually wanted to integrate it into their UI. Whereas if you use a Mac
Hmm.
OS and you download a third-party app, it feels like Apple themselves made it, which
Yeah,
is quite phenomenal.
yeah. Yeah, I'm on Spotify right now, and it's a treat. It's just a treat using the laptop. You know,
Yeah.
I've
For
never
sure.
felt that way about a laptop before, and I used to devalue like laptops and computers a lot. I'm like, okay, there's no like point. Like, there's always a point, but like I don't really care for them. But now that I have one that I really care about, I see the value in it, and I see the use.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's quite like a revolutionary product.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder what the next revolutionary product will be.
Like in terms of laptops or tablets or phones.
Yeah, because I'd say the iPad Pro is quite revolutionary. For me anyways, it completely changed the way I work on things and the way
Mm-hmm.
that like all of the work like flows in my life.
Mm.
Because like you got to realize, um, when I have an iPhone, when I have an iPad, when I have a Mac of my own, everything is like within the same ecosystem, so I can quickly transfer like from device to device.
Yeah.
Like for example, there's this free app for like a day, and it's a photo app where you like it's like pretty much like Photoshop, but like not as intense. And it usually costs money, but it was free on the iPad for a day, so I got it.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, but all my photos are on my iPhone, so I just airdropped them to my iPad, and then I edited them, made them look really nice, and then I airdropped them back. So like I'm thinking if I had a Windows PC or a Galaxy tablet, that would be so much harder to do. Like it would not integrate as well.
Mm-hmm.
And even with things like copy and paste, like if I copy something on my Mac, I can paste it on my iPad. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like that
Yo,
shouldn't
but
exist.
Windows fans, like, they don't understand. They don't understand. You know what I mean? Like you have to experience it. You have to open your mind and experience that.
Well, okay, let's
Not
play devil's
not that
advocate
I'm an
for
Apple.
Windows.
Yeah, like I'm not an Apple fanboy, but Windows is cool too, of course. I've used
I guess
Windows all my life until
with
this year.
Windows people, I think I'm talking about them like they're a majority of people, but with Windows people, it's like when they see someone using a Mac or any type of Apple device, they
Mm.
just assume they're more privileged the other people,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, okay, well, I don't need to be that privileged to enjoy my technology. Like I'm good here. I feel like that's the kind of
Yeah.
vibe they give off.
I mean, I think part of it is that Windows is more of a. I feel like people who use Windows are more into like the spec, like the specs and the hardware, and getting the most out of their video cards and stuff. Um, and to them, that's like all that matters in a device.
Yeah,
And
well, I
obviously,
mean,
there's Windows computers which are much more beefy in terms of performance than Macs, and they're cheaper too, probably. So they don't understand like why somebody would like the Mac, and they think it's just stupid that we would
see,
spend more money on a less high performance, like on a lower performance like computer.
see what they fail to realize is it's not all about the specs and the numbers. It's about the UI as well. It's about integrating everything and using it properly. Like
Yeah,
with Windows, I feel like it's like half the shit doesn't work for me most of the time. Maybe that's because it's like anecdotal and the PC I built wasn't that great. But I don't know. I feel like you're more often like you're more likely to run into problems more often on Windows than on a
yeah.
Mac. Like I've had this Mac for 5 years now, and like I've literally never had to troubleshoot anything with it ever, which is
Mhm.
quite like remarkable.
You just cut out a lot in like the last like sentence you just said.
Oh, I said that I've had this MacBook for 5 years, and I've never had to troubleshoot anything with it ever, like the entire time that I've had it, which is quite remarkable.
Yeah, everything flows. Everything just works. It's something that I feel like Mac users always say this, but it just works. And Windows people are like, yo, but like, what the fuck? You have to. I don't know. Windows people like they're okay with taking more of a roundabout approach to fixing a problem.
Hmm.
And I've done that too. But it's nice when nothing's in your way, when there's no obstacles.
Yeah.
It's nice not having to jump through any hoops to just make things work.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing that I'll say is with the price tag that's on the Mac, it's really annoying. Like if you're a student especially and you can't afford to buy a 256 gigabyte Mac, I like most people settle for 128, and that's the only thing that's holding the computer back for me is because I have to constantly keep deleting stuff and like making room for updates and whatnot.
Get a external hard drive.
Yeah, that's what I had to do actually. I bought a 1 TB hard drive, like an SSD, and I transferred all my photos and everything on there, including my torrents and like all my backup data.
Yeah.
But I still have like iOS files and shit that take up like 30 gigabytes.
Yeah. 128 is like nothing in 2019.
Yeah, because I can't even download like games or anything.
But
that's okay. Like I don't use this games anyways.
Yeah. Do you want to segue to a new topic? I have a topic.
Yeah, go for it. What
do you think of these two new singles from The Weeknd?
Oh, okay. We're on there, hey? I fucking love those songs, dude. What do you think about them?
I love them too, especially Blinding Lights.
Yeah, well, okay.
I'm enjoying it.
Actually, I have mixed feelings on Blinding Lights.
Really?
Because I can say it's a great song, and it's definitely like a phenomenal pop song. I feel like the replayability on that song isn't really there for me because it sounds too much like it's emulating a certain style, and it's not the Weeknd style.
What style is it emulating?
Like the synth pop style, like the retro wave type, like with the chorus and everything. Like it just sounds very much like he's attempting to be something he's not, and that's obviously like just a critique on him as an artist, not on the song itself. Like the song is great, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like Heartless is much more of a Weeknd song, and it's much more replayable for me because that's just like a cutthroat song. Okay. Am I cutting out?
Kind of.
Okay.
But I got what you said.
Yeah. I think they're both really good songs though, and I hope that I don't get annoyed with the Blinding Lights when it's on the radio 24/7.
I'll give my like perspective on that.
Yeah, go
like
for it.
Heartless is definitely more of a Weeknd sounding song, but that's why I like Blinding Lights more because I realized that I want to hear something different from The Weeknd. Like he's my favorite artist, so I've heard so much of him. I've heard so much Starboy, and Heartless sounds like Starboy to me, which is good. I enjoy it, but I kind of want to see him take a different route and see what other styles he can go for, which is why I like Blinding Lights.
Yeah, one thing that I kind of confused me was the lyrics on both songs because they're kind of contradicting each other. Because like Heartless, like I said earlier, it's like cutthroat, like he's being very real with himself and with the audience. Like he's going back to his ways, his misogynistic ways. So when he comes out with a song with like Blinding Lights where he's talking about like needing to feel someone's touch before sleeping or he can't sleep, it's like is he talking about two different people here or what's the deal?
Even in Heartless he's kind of being contradictory. In the bridge he's like, he says, "Oh, you never left my side," something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think I know. I'm searching it up right now.
Yeah. You just came back in my life. You never gave up on me. I'll never know what you see. I don't do well when alone.
Oh yeah, okay, I see.
He's probably talking about Bella Hadid in this, but
yeah.
That's also kind of why I don't like Heartless, because I don't believe this chorus.
You don't think he's heartless?
No, I don't believe he's back to his ways, and I don't believe anything. I don't know. I don't believe this low life in the pain right now.
Okay, you think this is just a hype track, eh?
I think this is just like a hype track. I think Blinding Lights is a bit more of what he's feeling right now.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And maybe this song, maybe Heartless is about Bella, and Blinding Lights is about Selena. Because don't they have a relationship?
Selena, they used to. They used to date.
Oh, okay. I'm not caught up with the tabloids.
Yeah, he used to date Selena, and then he dated Bella, and then they broke up, and then they're dating again. Yeah, all this stuff.
What do you think of his new look? That's pretty interesting.
Oh, yo, I like it.
You like it?
He looks like Bruno Mars.
Bro, he looks like a homeless version of Bruno Mars.
Homeless? Nah, he
Yeah,
looks
bro.
good. What?
Look at his hair.
Nah,
I don't know. I feel like I don't like the look. I don't think it fits him that well.
like it doesn't fit him. Like he looks like Latino, which
Yeah.
is weird because he's not. He's Ethiopian. But
Like,
I
okay, what I'm saying is the aesthetic itself, like with the golden lights and the red
yeah,
suit,
yeah,
that's awesome. Like
yeah.
that looks fucking
Okay.
sick. But with his hair and his stash
Mustache.
and his big glasses, it's like, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah, I think it's like yeah. I don't know. It's very weird to see it from the weekend.
Like,
But
yo,
he he
compare
always
this to the Starboy look and the Hills or whatever the fucking what's the name of that song or that album?
Beauty Behind the Madness.
Yeah, that look that was so much better than this. Both of them.
I think the Starboy look was very plain, which I didn't like.
It was
Beauty Behind the
definitely plain.
Madness look is that's the iconic
Iconic.
weekend look. Yeah, iconic weekend look.
That's like 2015 in a nutshell.
Damn. His his hair is crazy here. I forget that he had this hair.
Bro, how do you even fucking come up with this? Like,
The hair?
yeah, like how do you plan that?
I've never seen someone do this again.
Jesus, bro. I wanted him to like dye it blonde so he looks like a pineapple.
I don't think he's ever gonna die. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm super excited for this album.
yeah, me too. I hope we have a lot more songs that are like both of the songs that got released.
Mm.
You know do you remember the first time you've ever heard of like someone mentioning The Weeknd? Because I can remember it distinctly. I can remember mine completely.
I think it would probably be Aisha in high school.
Okay, that makes sense. Like she just
Wh-
told you about it.
Ah, honestly, that's what I can remember, but I don't really, I probably heard of him before. Like he's been big for a while. Oh yeah,
Okay.
no, it's not, no way Aisha in high school because I knew about him with the Take Care. Yeah, I knew about him in Take Care and stuff.
Yeah, so that's probably where you heard him.
Yeah,
I
probably
heard him.
like something to do with Drake. Yeah, what about you?
I didn't know him from Drake. I actually this is really bizarre because I found out about him when he was releasing the trilogy albums.
Hmm.
I don't know which one exactly, but I was watching this interview with Tyler the Creator.
Okay.
This was in like 2012, and like he was like the interviewer was like, "Who's your favorite artist out right now?" And he said Tyler. He said The Weeknd because he's like a black Justin Bieber, and that's the description I got from him. So I was like, "Fuck!" Like at this point in 2012, Justin
That's
Bieber
the
was making
worst
like
description
Believe.
you could get.
I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna listen to this guy because I thought he was just making pop songs and he sounded like he was like 12. Like I can see the description, the comparison because they both sound like they're prepubescent, but um,
What?
I mean they do.
I don't know about that.
But yeah, that's the first time I heard of The Weeknd,
Mm.
and I was like wow, that's interesting.
Mm.
Computer.
Wow. I'm actually on Tyler the Creator's Wikipedia right now,
Mhm.
and supposedly in 2014 he was reported to be recording with Mac DeMarco in 2014.
Hmm. I can see that because Wolf came out in 2014, right?
Yeah, Wolf came out then.
Yeah, they have a lot of like very indie sounding strings in that album. I can see that.
Okay, okay.
Yo, Tyler
Oh.
is like next level. Like he knows so much about music. Like, have you seen any of his Nardwar interviews?
I believe so.
If you watch them, like he'll just start talking about like random albums and like give you facts about them and like
Hmm.
I don't know. He's just so knowledgeable. I don't know. I don't know how he knows so much.
Hmm. Doesn't transfer over into his music, eh?
What are you talking about? What the fuck?
I'm just a hater. I'm a Tyler hater.
I think you're a Tyler fan base hater, not a Tyler hater.
Yeah, usually when I dislike something, I dislike the fan base more than like the thing.
Why do you think that is?
Why?
Yeah.
Um,
Like, shouldn't you be judging the person, not the people that are spouting the bullshit that the person
no,
is?
you're right, but I think it's because I don't want to be associated with a certain type of person, and me being a fan or enjoying like whatever it is, kind of automatically puts me in that group, right?
Damn, that's a next level tribalism thinking right there.
Yo, it makes
No,
sense,
I get
right?
it. I get it. Yeah, yeah.
It's anti-tribalism, you know?
Yeah, but it's still rooted in tribalism,
No, it is.
like ideology.
Yeah.
Um, that's interesting though, because like if you told that to someone, or if you told that to any like intellectual, I guess they would say that your objective thinking is getting in the way. Like it's not being fully developed if you think like that.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is, I'm acknowledging that fact.
Okay, so you're at least aware of it.
Of course. I'm yo, my metacognition is off the charts, bro.
All right, well, as long as you know.
Yeah, yo, I know.
Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I hope the like the cover art for the new album is really good for the weekend because that's the thing I love about weekend albums is like for some reason the cover art like most of the time breaks or makes an album for me,
Mm-hmm.
which I know isn't good, like it's not healthy, but fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited for his cover art and to see if it'll match the vibe that he gives off with the songs.
Do you like the cover art that he's had before?
Like for all of his other albums, yeah, they're great.
Really?
Yeah, I think Kissland is the only one that's kind of not that great though.
Mm. I don't know if I like a lot of them.
Which ones don't you like?
I don't like Starboy. Kissland isn't great. I like if you've seen the mixtape covers for House of Balloons, Echoes of
Oh,
Silence, and Thursday, those are really cool.
those are like works of art. Yeah, they're great.
But even the trilogy one is really good.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's the thing, right? Like if you look at the album art, even for the individual mixtapes or trilogy itself, like they fit so well with the
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah,
And even Starboy to a sense, like
yeah. Even
those
Starboy.
purples with
Yeah.
like it's very much like trap pop oriented.
Mm.
So I think yeah, I think he has a good like marketing team with in that sense. Like I don't think he himself thinks of these ideas, to be honest. I don't think most
Really.
artists do. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have like some say in it, but I don't think
Mhm.
it's like entirely their creation.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm sure they have a lot of artistic input though. I do think Weekend understands like art, so I do think he understands.
I'd hope so.
Like House of Balloons, he probably took this picture himself.
Yeah, that's a crazy picture. Holy
Like
shit.
this completely captures this that entire album.
Hmm.
Have you seen what the House of Balloons looks like?
Yeah, it's like a small like condo type shit, right?
Yeah, it looks so weird.
It's like in the middle of like a fucking don't know, industrial area.
I just sent it to you. Look at that. Isn't that
Yeah.
scary?
You know what that reminds me of? That's so weird. It
What?
reminds me of the house from Up. The house from Up, where like the contractors are asking him to like demolish the house and pay him out. Pay him out.
Oh, I was gonna say Monster House.
Oh yeah, I can see that too. Yo, that movie was scary. That scared me as a kid.
Movie's underrated as hell. Nobody remembers it, but it's really good.
I swear, some like really big like director funded that project.
Oh, really? Monster
Yeah.
House.
Oh, Mitch Musso is in this. What the fuck?
Who's that?
He's the guy from Wizards of Waverly Place. Oh, sorry, no, from
Oh,
Hannah Montana.
oh, I see.
Who's like crazy now. Yeah, Dan Harmon. He's the guy who made like all those big TV shows like Rick and Morty and
Oh, really?
yeah, there's like a few other Nickelodeon ones I think that he made.
Have you watched Coraline?
I haven't, but I've heard of it.
Yo,
Have you?
I need to watch it. It looks so good.
Yeah, I love those stop animation type films. I don't know what they're called, but they're always like they tend to be really good compared to like regular
Yeah,
animation. What do you think
bro.
the reason for that is?
I think it's so different because we don't often see it, and I think it's really difficult to do. So we're kind of in awe when we see like stuff happening on the screen compared to like if it's just drawn, because
But
people
I
made every like frame.
yeah, for sure. But I think it's a bit deeper than that because while the visuals are like phenomenal,
Mm-hmm.
I think the underlying story with those types of films are always like very deep in nature. Like for example, like Fantastic Mr. Fox, or
Mm-hmm.
like
I love
there's
that one.
another one that no, it's like not a it's like another film. I forgot the name of it. It's like I think The Nightmare Before Christmas or
Oh
something.
yeah.
Like they all have
I
like
love that
very good
film.
stories.
Mm.
And like if you put that story up to an animation film, like a regular Pixar one, I think it would have just as big of an impact. But of course, like the stop animation just enhances that completely.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Maybe
because
'cause-
when you're putting that much time into a project with the stop animation, like you want to make sure that the story is good and enough to, like match the visuals, I guess.
yeah, it's probably really expensive to make these, so
Yeah,
probably don't care about it. Yeah, I gotta watch this. I was watching a clip from Spider-Verse,
yeah,
and I was just reminded of how amazing that film is.
dude, that film was so good. Like I watched that film like okay, I watched it with my sister
Uh-huh.
like randomly, right? I didn't even
Yeah.
watch the trailer for it to be honest. I thought it was like a new Spider-Man animation, so I was like, okay,
Hmm.
whatever. And I don't know if you remember, but the very first frame in the entire film is like the Columbia logo, and it's like glitching. It's like going from like universe to universe, and it's changing. And at some point, the Columbia lady, she turns
Uh-huh.
into like a cowboy, and like she starts shooting a gun.
She
And
turns
I'm like,
into a
what the?
what?
She turns into like a cowgirl, cow
Okay.
lady, and she shoots a gun. Yeah, and like it's just like glitching out, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And the music in the background is getting like louder and louder, and it's like all these different like logos are coming up, and it's like a different universe for each of them. And I'm
Mm.
like, bro, what the fuck is happening? And like it just like pushes you into that Spider-Man world. And like, yeah, man, that movie is like definitely one of the best animated films of the decade.
Yeah, I agree. It won the Oscar too, which honestly I didn't want it to win, but it is
You
very
wanted Isle of
amazing.
Dogs to win?
Yeah, I wanted Isle of Dogs to win.
Yeah. Dude, I have those feelings now with Joker because when I watched Joker, I was like, dude, this has to win. This has to win.
Hmm.
But then, like literally right after that, so many good films came out in the span of like a month.
Mm.
And there's a new film coming out in a few weeks that's supposedly like gonna completely sweep the Oscars.
Which one? Little Women?
No, Marriage Story.
Marriage
You haven't heard of
Story.
this?
Marriage Story?
People are calling it like the best film of like the decade.
What?
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Like supposedly the
Yeah.
acting and the story in this is like completely like riveting. It's pretty much about a divorce and
Oh,
like the relationship between the two characters.
perception. 97%. Universal acclaim. Damn. Scarlet. I don't like Adam Driver, but like, I guess I'll have to watch it, eh? It's a Netflix movie too.
Yep. So
Oh,
this, along with The Irishman, Ford v Ferrari, Little Women, I know
yeah.
there's a few other, but I can't think of
Yeah.
them. Like, fuck, man. I just hope he like Joaquin Phoenix wins like best actor or something because I don't think Joker's gonna win best movie anymore.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. I haven't been watching movies recently, and I really should, but it takes like 2 to 3 hours, and it's really annoying to put that much time into a movie.
That is very true, especially if the movie is 3.5 hours.
Yeah, did you finish The Irishman?
Yeah, I did. I finished it
How,
last night.
how was it?
It was very good. It's hard for me to talk about it without spoiling it, but uh,
Okay.
it's like Goodfellas with a bunch of added layers, which is great.
Okay. Does it
Yeah,
does it deserve like is it actually amazing?
yeah, man. Like the filmmaking itself, like there's a few shots where like there were definitely callbacks to his previous films, and I could see that.
Hmm.
Um, and just the direction and like the vibe and the aesthetic of the film, it's like very
Yeah.
different from his other films. Like you can tell, it's very much like it's much more mellow, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And you would think that that would make it more boring, but it doesn't. It kind of adds on to it. And I also like the fact that all of the characters are old. Like I don't see films where the character is old anymore. It's weird.
Mm. Yeah,
So it's
I've been enjoying older people content recently.
oh yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, I've been enjoying seeing what the older men, what their feelings are like.
Honestly, yeah, you're right. Like me too.
Mhm.
And this is actually my next topic. If you want
Mhm.
to go to it.
Yeah, I see it.
So a few days ago, I was watching a few videos,
Hmm.
and so I've been like reading into a bunch of these different Soviet authors,
Uh-huh,
and
yeah.
I didn't know what the Gulag was until a few days ago.
Hmm.
Like, do you know what the Gulag is?
They're like they're like concentration camp or like work camps, right? They were used in like Soviet Russia or something.
Yeah, yeah, and but it's worse though. That's the thing. It's not just a concentration camp. Like the estimates of the amount of people that died during that era was in the range of 20 to 60 million.
Hmm.
Now think about that. How much is the Holocaust?
6 million, 11 million,
So,
something like
so the thing that really tripped me up was not the fact that this many people died, but that growing up, we've always heard about the Nazis and to never forget what they do.
that. Hmm.
But our education system doesn't want us to know what the Gulag is or what Maoist China is, and like how these types of concentration camp type of like protests and like dictatorships have been
Hmm.
going on throughout the 20th century.
Hmm.
But the only thing that we know about it is from the first half and not the second half.
Hmm.
And I don't know, that kind of tripped me up. Like I would, I think if our education system taught us about that, like we would be more able-bodied, I guess, and like I think we would learn a lot from it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
just interesting.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday I was kind of looking at similar things too. Um. So you think that our education system doesn't talk about it? Like, yeah. Like I don't remember hearing much about it.
Well,
E-
it's not that we don't talk about it; it's that like we barely talk about the Nazis too.
Yeah. Yeah. We barely talk about. At least in the Canadian system, we hardly talked about World War II or anything. Most of it has to do with Canadian history.
Yeah, and like that's fine and all, but I feel like there's a place and time for everything,
Hmm.
and I don't think teaching students like super nationalistic topics completely is a good thing. I think you should have it divided, and I think there's merit in knowing the different sides to every story, including the Russian side, which I feel like no one knows about. Like if I went up on the street right now and asked anyone about the Gulag or Mao's China,
Mm-hmm.
like people would be like, "What is that?" Like I've heard about that, sure. I might have heard
Mm-hmm.
it like once in a sentence, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know. That's just kind of like it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Um. Well, first of all, I don't think we don't have a very nationalistic view of, like, when we learn about Canada, it's not super nationalistic. We do learn a lot about like the wrongs that Canadians have done.
Yeah, yeah, true. I shouldn't
Especially
have
in
said
relation
nationalistic.
to, yeah, especially in relation to like First Nations and shit. But I don't know. For some reason, we, like, okay, I know that like there is a very specific reason. Actually, okay, I don't know the real reason, but we have painted the Nazis as like the worst people in, I guess they're the most like evil people in history to
Yeah.
our 21st century Western minds.
Hmm.
Not saying they're not evil, but we don't like learn about or think about the other really bad things that have gone on in the world.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like I can give you an example. Like if you if you go on YouTube, if you're a big creator and you hold up a swastika flag,
mhm,
you would get canceled immediately.
mhm,
Like no question about it. People would
mhm.
completely disregard you. No, I see.
Okay.
But if you held up a hammer and a sickle
Mhm,
and you praised communism,
mhm.
like no one would really care. No one would bat an eye because like they just assume that to be like just a Russian ideology, which is like whatever.
Okay.
But the hammer and
Well,
sickle, like it's so much more than just a Russian ideology. Like there's so many debts
mm,
behind it.
I feel like it's different.
How
I, I
so?
I feel that swastika, the one that the Nazis used, um, pertains to like the fascist or Nazi ideology,
Hmm.
which I think is like super authoritarian, like right wing economically, and obviously it's like an ethno state. They're very discriminatory against minorities and stuff. That's like what Nazism is. Uh,
Hmm.
I feel like the hammer and sickle uh, pertains more to like a communist ideology or like a very left wing ideology. Which, and I don't think that the people who use that, or let's say like people who have that as their profile, I think they're more interested in the ideology of communism than in like the gulags or whatever.
Yeah, I guess the case could be made for like the hammer and sickle representing the working class. But yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. It's just crazy to me, man. I feel like we should really be teaching people, especially the younger people, about these different acts that have been done. Because if you don't teach them, then how are they going to learn?
Mm-hmm. I
Like
agree.
it's all through word of mouth, right?
Yeah,
At that point.
I feel like when we, especially when we learn stuff about history and politics and stuff, we got examples. Like I remember learning about appeasement. Um, appeasement, like when a country allows another country to do bad stuff for whatever
Hmm.
reason. Um,
Right.
and we learned about it in the context of Hitler and Nazism. Supposedly, we appeased, like the Western countries appeased Hitler and Germany while they were, I don't know, after like the First World War. I'm not sure about
Yeah.
the exact history, but I didn't really understand the full context or connotation and like what that really meant until this year when I see stuff like stuff like the, not really the NBA, but Western Western companies and corporations appeasing like China.
Yeah.
So and now I have a better understanding at least of what that word means and what it meant in context of Hitler and what it means in the context of politics. And I feel like that's something that we're missing in in our teaching, at least for those sort of things.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit of a harder subject to tackle because like there's a difference between just learning a subject or a topic and like physically seeing it with your own eyes and conceptualizing it in your own brain.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to get around that within our education system, but yeah, that's a good point for sure. Like I didn't know much about political science coming out of high school because I was never interested into it. But then once the world became politicized, seemingly after 2016, it's like I've gained an interest in it, and I fully understand it now. Well,
Yeah.
not fully, but more than I did when I was out of high school.
Yeah. I've also like gained an interest in it now. And I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's no correct answer. That's what I feel like.
You're right.
in many well, a lot of people would disagree.
Well, yeah, but you see, we're postmodernists, so
No, you're not.
I know, but you are. Would you say you're postmodernist?
Like, I don't know if it's like I don't think it's a specific ideology.
Disregard the people that are associated with postmodernism. Like, based on the definition, do you think that's what you are?
Yeah, like the definition is very like ambiguous, and it's hard to like. It's not really an ideology, but it's like. But yeah,
I would say it's a way of thinking.
It's a way of thinking, yeah, and I do think that my way of thinking lines up with it. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I just learned what postmodernism was like a month ago, so I can like utilize that word properly now.
I also just learned what it was a month ago.
Bro, you've been using it for so long. What are you talking about?
No, I haven't. I only started using it literally a month ago.
Bro, I swear I've been hearing that word postmodernism for like since like 2015. I have no idea what
that's not from me.
The fuck it means. I know. I know. No, that's interesting though. I don't think that I think there's definitely a place for it, and I think it's I'm glad it exists as a way of thinking.
Yeah, I went on Reddit yesterday and I just searched up communism into the search bar to see what people were saying.
Okay.
Well, first of all, there was a thread on Reddit yesterday, like, oh, what ideologies that are perpetuated by Redditors do you feel are dangerous? Blah blah blah. And then in the top, it was just like, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what it was, but they were like kind of like normal popular things. And then I went to controversial because that's where all the fun's at. And the biggest things that I saw there were people saying that communism works and that socialism works. It's like so that's apparently like a very controversial take. So then I searched up communism in Reddit to see what people think about it. And yeah, people don't like it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think I really I can't give a full-fledged like answer to that because I don't know too much about it, but from my understanding, the reason why communism is so dangerous is because it's based off the idea of equality of outcome rather than equality of opportunity. So everyone is equal by the end of whatever you're trying to do, which can be dangerous because it turns into like totalitarian governments. Like what we're looking at now in North Korea isn't it's like a direct lineage of communism, I would say, because everyone else is like the fucking. I'm trying to conceptualize this without sounding stupid, because I really don't know much about it. But why do you think it's deemed as dangerous way of thinking?
I think it's just propaganda.
Really?
Well, I think it's two reasons. I think first of all, it's just leftover propaganda from when America was in a Cold War with Russia and China. And like even back then, like there was stuff like the Red Scare. We had that in Canada too, McCarthyism and stuff, and that was like a real thing. Even in Canada, I think there was like a communist party, and then they were forced to disband because we just weren't allowed to have like those sort of viewpoints in in Western countries at the time.
But don't you think that those propaganda ideas are kind of like leaving the place now, leaving its
they
place?
yeah, they are, which is good. Um,
Or would you say that the controversial propaganda is like deeply rooted within our culture now, so that's why it's it's looked at as like a bad
it
thing?
is deeply rooted in like Western culture, but it's getting less and less obviously with like stuff like the success of politicians like Bernie Sanders. Um, just people are becoming
Mm,
much more left wing and socialist, and with like social, like they want social programs. They want free healthcare. Not they, but
yeah.
like more people in general, more young people, especially in general, want sort of stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, so it's becoming more and more normal. But I do think another reason why communism is so like looks so dangerous to people is because like every time it's been supposedly tried in history, it has ended in a totalitarian regime with like terrible terrible effects on the citizen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure if every time is right, but the two biggest examples are Russia and China. Um,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
that's like what people, and I don't know if that's like a valid knock against it, because I don't personally consider those governments to be communist. Um, because by definition, communism is a stateless, classless, moneyless society, and that's not what a totalitarian regime is. Um,
But it's like a derivative of it in a way.
is it?
Yeah. Because like, okay, the absence of social class and the absence of like how everyone has the same job in a sense.
Okay.
That's like I said it earlier, it's equality of outcome. And
Hmm.
that's a big thing with the communism. In a totalitarian regime, that's that's the uh, that's the ideology that's being, put into place. It's equality of outcome. So it's a derivative of it, but I don't think it's a complete like I don't think it's what Karl Marx had in mind when
Okay.
he came up with the phrase.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, Karl Marx wasn't the guy who is implement like he thought of all this stuff, but he wasn't the one who implemented it. He wasn't the one who tried it. He was more of like a philosopher, like political scientist type of dude.
Yeah,
Um,
like Lenin and Stalin were the ones that carried it forward.
yeah, Lenin and Stalin were the guys who like did shit like that. Um, yeah, but at the same time, like capitalism, at least the way we have implemented it in our culture and society, doesn't necessarily have an equality of opportunity either, which is what it should be, right? We're supposed to have a
It,
meritocracy, but that's not necessarily the case at all.
but it kind of is. It's not, but it is. Like there is obviously a bunch of hurdles in the way of people to get to that opportunity. But
Hmm.
like the basis of Western culture is the equality of opportunity. Like that's why it's called the land of the free.
Yeah, but is that true?
I don't think it's true necessarily, but that's what it's rooted off of.
Yeah, that's like what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't really know if politicians are fighting for it even, or people are fighting for that even anymore.
I don't think so. There's like more important things to worry about at
Mm.
this point. But I
And
think
that,
okay, I
mhm.
guess the goal at the end of the day should be equality of opportunity. Let's agree on that.
You think that should be the okay?
I think so because
Yeah.
that's when you see who's really it's like a valid way of determining who's competent and who's not. If
Mm.
everyone has the same opportunity, people who really want to make something worth their lives can do that.
Hmm. Um. Yeah, I think that does make sense. I'm not sure how much I agree with that, but it does make sense.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, that's why I don't know. I just feel like it's very difficult to like have a hard stance like, oh, this is the correct economic system or this is the correct political system, because there's a lot of factors, and I think when we implement either of these sort of like economic systems, it doesn't really work out. Like I don't really think capitalism is implemented properly. Um, for example, when the housing crisis happened in 2008,
Mhm.
like the government ended up just bailing out all these banks, and these banks like they should have went bankrupt, right? But they didn't, and that because the government just bailed them out, which is weird. Which is weird because like the government doesn't, American government doesn't want to like do that for the people, but it does that for the corporations.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
Uh,
true. But then I don't know. It's hard to make that case because like if the banks collapse, then the economy collapses.
that's true.
Like it's like the government's hands are tied in that sense.
That's true. That's why people want they don't want monopolies. They want competition. So there's multiple like there's different things. There's different companies doing stuff. Um,
Hmm.
and they want regulation so banks can't do like dumb shit like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
but
think
that yeah, it's
American,
weird.
like I know that American banks are nearly the same as Canadian ones, but in my head, I always assume American banks are just more corrupt.
Mm.
I don't know why. I'm not sure why. But speaking of competition, there's one last thing I wanted to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the different streaming services that launched in the past month,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's going to be more streaming services in the next couple of months. And like, what do you think about that competition? Because I can't tell if it's good or not. I really have no
Well,
idea.
remember when Netflix came out? Like, I don't know when it came out. When it came out, people
Yeah,
loved.
yeah, it was revolutionary, bro.
Yeah, people loved it, and it was really good. And over time, it really degraded in just probably in popularity and also in quality. Like, how many
Yeah,
times have we talked about like a show not being on, like taken off Netflix or not being able to find? When you go on Netflix now, like I don't see anything I want to watch. Like hardly anything I want to
yeah.
watch.
Well, it's a there's a principle to define that. It's like an overwhelming, like it's pretty much you have so much option in front of you that like you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to watch anything.
Mm. But do you think the
Like
options are that good even?
I mean I think it's a bit of both. Like okay,
Mm.
imagine this if you had Netflix but the layout was completely different and you could only go through one movie at a time instead of seeing all of them on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you'd be able to come to a conclusion and like watch a movie like more decisively if that was the case. But yeah, I know I do agree with you though. Like there are so many times where I'm just like scrolling through Netflix, especially if I'm with a family member or if I'm like with someone who I want to watch something with. Even if we decide on a certain like movie,
Mm-hmm.
it's like okay, let's keep this in the back of our mind and we'll come back to it. Let's go through a few more movies
Yeah.
first.
And then
But yeah,
so maybe the competition is good. So now Netflix and all these other streaming services have to like up their game. Uh,
that's certainly the case with Disney because their whole catalog is on Disney Plus now.
mhm.
So that's like
That's also annoying
whatever
because
you want.
if you want to watch HBO shows, you need to have HBO. If you want to watch Disney, you need to have Disney. Um, it's
Yeah,
there's not
that's the
one place to
problem.
get everything, and like it's all segmented in different places. So like it's really annoying for a consumer like us.
Yeah, I was gonna say that with the introduction of all these different streaming services, I can't tell whether or not it's to the detriment or whether it's actually good for the consumer. Because you have all these different companies like Disney, HBO, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, and they have all of their original shows on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to watch any of that content, you have to pay so many different fees. And I guess that's up to like the consumer itself, like how much content do you really want? Like there's only so much time you can spend watching a TV show. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't tell where it's gonna go from here. I hope it's good. I mean, any form of competition is inherently good for the economy, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll see in the next coming years.
Yeah, it is good to have the competition. I just hope. I hope they do. I hope they all do better. Um, but at this point, how is it even different than like how TV channels were back in the day?
Yeah, man.
You know,
Exactly. And the
now
thing
someone's
is,
gonna like bundle all these together and sell it for like $100 and call it cable.
yeah. And the thing is with cable, you're paying what $60 for, let's say like 100 channels. But now it's like what $5 for Disney, and that's just because they launched. You know, like in a few years it's gonna go up to like $10. Like they have free range over how much they want to charge.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of actually starting getting a subscription for Disney and then like splitting it between friends because I have a friend here who like shares her Disney subscription with like 5 other people, which is like super cheap
Okay.
for a month. But
Disney.
I don't even know if I want to get a subscription to that. There's only one show that I watch on it.
Mm. Honestly, now when I want to watch something, I don't watch things a lot, so I just go on like iTunes and rent it for like $4. I don't know how.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's how I've been watching like a lot of my movies that I've been watching this semester. I just rent it for $4, or I don't know how much it is, and yeah, I can watch it once or twice, and that's enough.
wow, that's interesting. I've actually never done that before.
It's
I don't
good.
know how I feel about that, dude.
Good quality. And
I guess
it's
so.
specifically because I don't watch every night. Maybe once a week. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I mean it makes sense. Like I understand the thinking behind it, but I don't know, man. If I'm paying that much money, as little as it is, I'd at least want to watch it a few times. But then again, I'm being a hypocrite because I go to the theater all the time.
Yeah, like to me that's how I think about it. It's like I'm buying a movie ticket.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess. Anyways, how long have you been going on for?
Almost 2
We
hours.
started we started at one. Oh wow, 1.5 hours.
Oh, it's 1.5 hours? Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good episode right there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We're gonna call it now, eh?
Yeah, we'll see you maybe next week.